Hello everybody, this is Loki here, WayOfLoci, and welcome to No Hit Podcast. Here it is my job to interview the extraordinary gamers out there, whether that be challenge runners, gamers who've completed games without taking a single hit or point of damage, speedrunners who've completed games in mere minutes that would normally take hours, and those who've completed games completely blindfolded, or the amazing content creators out there, YouTubers and streamers creating engaging and entertaining content online. Today's guest is Rickfernello, that's Rickfernello on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Rick is the first person in the world to complete the indie platformer game Celeste 100% Deathless, as well as then carrying on to collect all 202 berries, requiring an additional Deathless run of each level to get there. He's also beaten the infamously difficult Chapter 9 Farewell, Deathless 6 times in a row, and completed a Deathless run of Farewell whilst doing a Pacifist Run, which we go into what that means. In this conversation we go to how Rick was first introduced to Celeste and the runs building up to completing the 100% run. We talk about the pressure of competition as he got closer and closer to the zero death run, his different controller setup using both keyboard and controller at the same time, as well as dive into modded Celeste levels, and much more. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Rickfernello. Right, Rick, thanks very much for taking some time out to come on the podcast today. Hope you're doing well. How's it going, man?
Doing all right. Nothing much today, but thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're going to go get into all things Celeste, Deathless, and challenge runs today, but I wanted to start with your profile pic, actually, because your profile pic is of the character Ralsei, or I'm not entirely sure how the pronunciation is for it.
Yeah, it's Ralsei.
Deltarune, and a really nice channel out on your YouTube channel as well. And I was interested in where or how that came about.
Oh, I was just very interested in Undertale ever since I played it. A friend introduced me to it, and I just fell in love with the game. It's definitely my favorite game story-wise. I never played something that just made me attached, such as like Undertale. And after I played Undertale, I researched everything about it. I came in depth with the game. I just wanted to know more and wanted a lot more things about the game. And then Deltarune came out in 2018, and there's this Ralsei character, and he was just very cute. And I thought that he was a bit similar to me, or at least how I wanted to be like. And it was kind of an idealization of a character, right? And I just used the Ralsei profile pictures out of nowhere, just like in social media, because I didn't stream at the time, and because I simply found him cute, right? And I think that's about it. I just like adopted the character as a character for my stream because I saw no problem with that, and I saw that many people liked Ralsei. It wasn't something really planned, honestly. And then I was looking for some artists for emotes and actual profile pictures so that I don't use anybody else's arts. And I found someone that's really cool, and she has been drawing like so many emotes and so much channel art, and that's about it, really. It's just because I just really find him pretty nice, and I wanted to be more like him. That's all.
Going into Celeste, we'll start slowly and build our way up to the big runs. What was your first introduction to the game, and what was it about it that got you hooked to then go on doing these challenge runs?
I think the first thing that I saw about Celeste was a video review talking about how Celeste is... I don't actually remember what video it was, but I think it was something along the lines of Celeste is a masterpiece. And I really liked the art of the game first, and also I think everything just fit very well, like the name of the game and the visuals, and they were talking about how the music was really good, and there were some snippets of the music with this video, and so I decided not to watch too much of this video, and I started the game. I actually recorded the first time that I played this game by myself, just like a few minutes of it, and I remember distinctively that the very beginning of the game was very mind-blowing to me. I thought, wait, this is going to be a great game, isn't it? Because there is this scripted fall sequence in the beginning, and it was very, very cool. Like, you could feel that the game wanted you to win from the start, and everything felt smooth to control, and everything felt very, very easy to do in that game, and it was pretty cool. I think this is how I started falling in love with the game, and then I saw, like, I just wanted more of the game, and I kept playing and never stopped until I just thought the game was pretty good until I finished it, right? Like, very sweet game, very, very nice to play. But when I finished 100% of it, it felt incredible at that point. It felt like I accomplished something so difficult and so satisfying because doing all those B-sides and C-sides, there was no Farewell at the time, wasn't in 2018. It just felt like it was so much extra to the game, but it felt complementary to the game. It felt like you needed that for the game to be complete, and that was, I don't know, it just succeeded in being very satisfying. And I was eagerly awaiting for Farewell when it was announced. So I played Farewell in the same day that it came out, like in the same hour that it came out. I just immediately, yeah, like I was actually awake thinking, wait, Farewell is gonna drop out today. And then I think it was also one of my first streams ever, but it wasn't recorded, unfortunately. And it was super cool. And it just succeeded in being great and doing whatever, like it exceeded every expectation of everything I had. It's like Celeste 2, it's so big. If somebody never played Farewell, it's like immense.
Yep, definitely.
And about the challenges and like the golden berries that we have in Celeste, the built-in challenges of Deathless, right? I never really did any type of Deathless runs before, any type of no hit runs, but because of this type of introduction of the golden berries in each level of Celeste, I wanted to do some of them, and then I just thought, this is not for me. At first. Yeah, like I just before Farewell came out, I tried some of the golden berries, and I think I stopped in like 3A, and it was way too much. It was like 3A is so big, and I just couldn't do it. Like I spent a few hours in it, and I just felt like I'm making no progress. It's not gonna be good at all, and I gave up for a long time. And then Farewell came out, and then somebody called DJ Tom made a list of everybody that completed Farewell Goldens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first Golden that I watched was Enox's. And Enox, his reaction to getting the Golden was so cool. He was so excited to getting it that I felt like, oh, I want to feel that way too. Like, imagine just feeling that way. It would be really cool, right? And like, not many people could do this. Imagine if I could, maybe. I don't know. Like, I thought it was something like so impossible, so out of reach when Enox did it. And I didn't know Enox before this. It was from this video that I met him. I don't know. It was way too much, but I thought that it would be very cool if somebody did it. And so there was all this list that Tom made, and there were so few people in it. When I went for it, there were like 10 people in the list still. And so I started grinding for the normal Goldens, and it like just makes you better at the game over time. It takes a long time.
So did you go Did you go straight for Farewell, or did you go for the other ones first?
No, I did all the Goldens first, because I just knew I couldn't do Farewell at the time. Farewell is like immense. It takes like, even if you do it Deathless, it takes you more than 20 minutes to play it. And 20 minutes of perfect gameplay was too much for me at the time. I remember I was doing like the B-sides alongside the A-sides, I'm pretty sure. And I also gave up a 3B after doing 3A because chapter 3 was just too much. Like, I couldn't memorize the patterns and like what the dust bunnies do. But I just kept going. I didn't look up any guides for any chapters. I just like brute forced it, I think. But at some point, something just, I don't really remember how I did it to practice, but I didn't practice that much at all. Like, I was just like throwing attempts and attempts, and some of the screens that were difficult, I like did like checkpoints Deathless, but I really didn't practice that much at all. It was just throwing attempts, really, and sometimes doing like low death runs.
So it was like throwing yourself at the wall until it finally broke.
Yeah, it was pretty much that for most of the first chapters, the smaller chapters, right? And then the bigger chapters came on, like 7A, 7B, and you can't just throw yourself at the wall like that because they are very long, and you need to really practice most of the sections Deathless, and you need to really just do low death runs. And then I think at this point I started doing low, like after I did a golden attempt and I got far, I decided to keep going and see how many hits I would take to the end of the level.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also something very important that happened alongside 4B, I think, where I noticed that I had lots of input lag in my game for the whole time, and I never realized it up until then. I had like the option of VSync, and it actually had a very big impact on the input delay. And after I disabled that, my gameplay felt so much smoother, and I suddenly started playing so much better. like doing 5B was so fast, doing the rest of 4B was so fast, and then I think after 6A and 6B, I just realized, wait, this is a bit too hard. And then I started recording after 6B because I know it was like something very difficult, at least for me at the time. I just didn't know how much harder would like the next levels be, because Farewell is like it's on another level of
It's
6B. I don't know how much in the community of Celeste you are. Like, do you like follow the Discord or Twitter? I don't know.
I keep track of it quite a bit. I've done a Deathless run of the A sides, not including core, and then done a couple of other things, but I've kept track definitely.
Oh, nice. Do you speedrun as well, or?
Not for a while now, but mainly did hitless or deathless runs, which is what my interest in Celeste came from, and of course just enjoying the game itself.
Yeah, nice. Pretty much, I had pretty much the same experience because I was never in the community of Celeste. I was just followed the Reddit of Celeste when I played it. I think after the first time I finished Farewell, there was like in the credits, and not in the credits of the normal game, but if you actually go to the menu and press credits, I actually did that after I played Farewell for some reason. And I noticed that there's the Celeste Discord in the credits.
Oh, yeah.
And this is when I joined the Discord. I'm pretty sure there is the Celeste Discord in the credits or something like that. And this is how I joined. But I never followed really any Discords, and like it was too much for me, too confusing, and too many things going on, and like modding and people talking about it. But at this point, everybody was talking about Farewell and their first experiences with Farewell, and it was pretty funny because so many people were like still stuck in previous rooms after I finished it, and they were like discussing strategies, and I could actually participate in a bit of it at that time. And I didn't know about the Moonberry thing, but I saw the achievements, and I saw that it was added with the Farewell. And
it's like, where's this hiding from?
yeah, then I had to ask the Discord where it was without giving too many spoilers. And I remember I got stuck there, and then I actually asked for help there, and they helped me find it. It's like at the very end of Pharaoh, we have to do the whole room. It's like an enormous room, right? And you have to do the whole room backwards, kind of. It's pretty fun. I think that's one of the coolest secrets in the game.
It's super cool. I remember Ed and Nat with Enox quite a while ago now, and we were talking about it was super cool how the mods put in, because to get to the Moonberry room you have to take an intentional death. But
oh yeah,
doing that gives you a unique sound effect of when the golden strawberry like zips over to the.
Yeah, and a very cool thing about this intentional death is that I'm pretty sure it was based off a speedrunning trick. Do you know that?
I think so. In chapter
The Bubs
5,
drop.
I believe.
Yeah, the Bubs drop. It's based off of that because the respawn, the way the respawn works, it teleports you to the nearest respawn point, right? So like each room has like different respawn points, and it's usually at the entrance. But since in that room in chapter 5B, there is no actual entrance that you can come from there. The nearest respawn is all the way over to the next side of the room. Then you can skip like a lot. And then the devs decided to implement that, and they also decided to implement the demo dash, right? Which is a difficult trick that allows you to go through spikes, very very specific spikes. And it's, I don't know, the way the devs are so included in the community is just what made me realize that they really love the game, and they don't want people to, like, they are okay if people break the game. And so it feels like kind of a classic game but a modern game at the same time, because people can still like break the game, they can still find out very cool stuff about the game that was not intended, but they still like they're like, we're watching you, we know what you're doing, it's cool.
I mean, I've said quite a few times previously, but like Celeste is one of the most perfect games for speedrunning, with how refined the movement is in the game.
Yes, it is. I also got into speedrunning after doing the Firewall Golden. After doing all the Goldens, I kind of rushed into the Goldens. I tried doing Goldens like kind of fast because you get impatient, right? And I wanted to, after, like, I saw some 80% speedruns and saw so many people doing it, and I never did any type of speedrun whatsoever. And knowing like all the level layouts, I decided to try it myself because I already had the memory, I already knew the path to do that I had to do in the game. Although it was a very long time after I did all the A sides, because Feral took a long time. It took like over 70 hours of gameplay, but it was like 2 months, like spread across 2 months, because it's like a very long level, and sometimes you get unmotivated to do it, and it was pretty cool. And seeing that there were so many Brazilian speedrunners as well, I don't know how I found the Brazilian speedrunners Discord. I really don't remember, but I realized that I was the first Brazilian to ever get the Farewell Golden. In the ranking, I was the 27th person in the world, I'm pretty sure. And that, I think that made me motivated to try speedrunning at least once. Oh, and also because the Celeste Twitter page, they did like a speedrun week thing in 2019. Do you remember that? And it was, yeah, I participated in that, and that's when I first speedrun the game. And it just feels perfect to speedrun. There's no other game I would like to speedrun as much as Celeste. Like I never was like I was interested in speedrunning. I was always interested, but never interested in myself speedrunning. I just like watching it. But Celeste was a game that felt so good to play that I had to try it at least once. And then, although I didn't stick to speedrunning that much, I participated in a tournament, in a Brazilian tournament in 2021, and I think that got me that made me improve a lot because I wanted to at least get a decent position in the tournament. I knew I couldn't win because there are people that do like that were in the top 10 in Brazil at the time, but it was still pretty cool. And I think it was at this time that I started the 80% Deathless runs. I don't remember what got me into it though. I really don't remember what got me into it. But it was cool because I probably saw that not many people had it, and I found it was cool. And I also did the Farewell Golden. I thought, how much harder than Farewell Golden can it be, right? It's just the A sides. It's just 1 to 7, right?
Easy in comparison.
Easy in comparison. No, I didn't think it was easy in comparison. I didn't know if it was harder or easier than Farewell Golden. Because it's definitely longer, but it's also like the level design is a lot easier. I tried that for a few months. I don't remember how long it took, but it was in parallel with the speedrunning tournament thing. And then in this tournament, there were like people narrating the event and like commenting on it, right? As we did a race. It was like a race format, right? And it was cool that people like were really excited about the deathless thing that I was trying to do, and I find it really cool. And after I finished the Deathless run, I just thought, like, I don't know, it just made me feel kind of sad that it looks like you get a bad ending, right? When you just get an 80%. Because you have, like, no very, I don't know, I felt unsatisfied because of that. I think, I don't know, I was thinking of, what if I try just getting all berries or doing something like that? Wouldn't it feel more satisfying if I did that? But, like, also, how much harder is the berries? And I think I just didn't realize how much harder it would be.
So how long did the Any Deathless take in comparison to like the Farewell Golden?
I think it took about the same time. Maybe a bit, I think about the same time, yeah. I don't remember how many hours exactly, but since I already had the experience of all the Goldens before, I definitely knew some strategies already, so it's hard to compare. Maybe you can say it took more because I already practiced before the Pharaoh Golden, right? But I was also better at the game because I got all Goldens before. So I think it was shorter than Pharaoh Golden. No, much shorter than Pharaoh Golden. But yeah, it was cool.
I do have to say for the doing the any percent or the chapters 1 to 7, chapter 7 has got to be one of the best finishing soundtracks out there for a run. It's such a hype sound finish.
It's so hype. And also, if you're a streamer or if you're doing any kind of event with people watching, people get super hyped when you're in chapter 7. They do like the countdown, and I think that's so fun. I don't know, it just heightens your feeling. And one thing I noticed about streaming Deathless runs is that when you're getting close to finishing it, people start getting more interested in it and more invested, and they're less likely to leave, and they like sometimes invite other people over to watch it, and you get like a lot more viewers when you're finishing a run, and that's super cool.
Oh, definitely the numbers just like start spiking, like as you get like the final levels or the final bosses, or
yeah, and it's cool that you're doing something so risky, and you get your adrenaline pumping when you're at the finish at the end of a level or a hitless run, because one single mistake will cost you the run, but you can take as much time as you want.
Just sort of quickly mention from a moment ago about the devs being like very active and such like, and something I just wanted to mention that when I was looking on their Twitter, they retweet a lot of like fan made stuff and like events and stuff that's happened. So I think that was pretty cool because not a lot of games do that.
Yeah, the Twitter manager, she's called Heidi. She's a Brazilian, actually, that lives in Canada, I think, alongside the devs. And she is just the sweetest person ever. There is no better person to be the admin of the community manager, right? She just loves everything Celeste related. You can just like literally talk to her and say that you did something cool, she'll be like so happy for you. And she was like so happy for everything. She actually streamed a bit some time ago. She was streaming like other games. I don't know if she actually plays Celeste that much, but she was streaming, I think, Hades, and she
Oh,
is
Hades
so
is good.
sweet. Yeah, and she actually, it's because of her that I started playing Hades. Like she was playing Hades, I thought, wow, this game is really cool, and I play Hades a lot because of that as well. But yeah, she does like everything. She does the Twitter, she does the Instagram. She has like three different Twitter pages or something, and I don't know what else. I think even TikTok maybe. I don't know. She is incredible. I don't even know what to say. She's like one of the best people ever, and it falls in line with all the other devs as well. Like from everybody that I've seen of the Celeste dev team, they're all so incredible. They're just very nice all around, and it makes you get more involved with the community when you see that all of the devs are so cool like that. Like I don't know. It just makes me very happy that she actually goes to everybody that just mentions Celeste on the Twitter and goes retweeting like machine gun retweeting everything. I think I just posted my like Deathless progress, and she just retweeted it, and like he gets a lot of attention for some reason because of course the Twitter page has a lot of followers, and it was the coolest thing ever.
Sounds cool. So after Any Percent, was it onto Seasides next? Or was it Hardcore?
So one funny thing that happened was that after I did the 80%, I just started one stream and decided, let's just do 100% now. let's see how many deaths I'll do in 100%, because I just did 100% one time, like just my first playthrough. I never did 100% again after that, and I think that's still recorded. But I died like I don't know, like 300 over times or something, and it was like very difficult. And then I realized, okay, maybe 100% is a bit too much.
Any percent's done. 100%. Let's go straight after. Straight at it.
Yeah, it was pretty much that. It was just like, all right, 100%, time to begin, let's go. But no. And then I realized I have to do it segmented, right? I have to do it like, just like, take it slow, take it easy, right? And then I did the seasides, and the seasides were so easy. It was like, it was like a joke. It took me 2 hours from beginning to practice seasides to finish it at Deathless. Yeah, it was about 2 hours.
Damn speedy.
Speedy, yeah, like they're so short. Like I didn't think it would be so short, but also you still like throw. I shoot through a lot of attempts, right? You still die a lot. They are still pretty hard, right? If you're just doing, if you want to add the seasides at the end of a run, it's like it's very intense. But if you're just doing them on its own, it's super short.
I believe like the final time for like all Seasides is like around 10 minutes or just under 10 minutes, I think, as long as obviously Deathless.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe even less than that. I really don't remember. I think I didn't get to watch a Seaside speedrun, but I saw some people doing some very crazy tricks, and it can do so many things that I don't know if they actually do it deathless. Like if they like in top speedruns, like do they actually do it deathless? I never even watched that.
It must be close, just
It must be close, of course, like less than 5 deaths or something. But they absolutely could do it deathless very easily if they wanted to. And speaking of which, doing speedrun things in a run, it feels like a good idea sometimes. But I think you should make different strategies to take it slowly, right? Because when you're so used like to actually speedrunning, you get in a flow, and it's very easy for you to stick to what you know, and then you probably die less. Not going too fast or going too slow, but doing whatever you practice for, right? Of course.
Do you have any particular examples of a case where you've changed a speedrunning strat for a section to a strat for a Deathless run?
Yeah, I don't have any particular examples. Let's try and see that. But I think most of the time, like most of the strategies were adapted for that, because I only speedrun 80%. I didn't speedrun any other categories before going for the deathless attempts.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to actually adapt a speedrun strategy. I just did a safe strategy from the get-go, except for the 80% parts. Let's actually see. Do I even try to do something fast? I think at this point I don't really, because the routing in the 100% changes a lot in Celeste, and then most of the time I don't try to go too fast. So I take it very easy in my run. If you look at it, it's super super chill. But also one thing that I do is that I don't do very complicated or weird setups. If you watch Enox or Jojo playing the 100%, they do some very complicated strats. They do some strats that are like pixel perfect, full jump setups that will like have a 0% chance of failing, and I don't do pretty much none of that in my runs. I just like playing the intended way for some reason, and it's actually better to play the way that they are doing because they're actually practicing something over and over, and it's more likely to succeed. As for me, I pretty much threw attempts a lot. Even though I practice a lot, I also just kept like throwing attempts at it, and then I practiced whatever I died to, and then I kept going and throwing more attempts.
Before going into B-sides, I just wanted to query your controller keyboard layout. Could you explain how that came to be?
Oh yeah, that came to be when I was doing Firewall Golden. I realized that I used to only play with controller, and I realized that playing with analog was not very good for Celeste because you did so many miss inputs. Sometimes you wanted to do a diagonal way and came a straight dash, and just doing one dash run in a run will very likely cost you the whole run, and then it took so much time to do that. And then I tried going for the D-pad, but the D-pad was not very comfortable, and it was kind of slow as well. I think the analog is even slower than the D-pad, but it was very uncomfortable. It wasn't very good. At least on my controller, it wasn't super good. And then I tried switching to just the keyboard, but I couldn't get used to the keyboard. The keys were very complicated. I couldn't like press all the buttons I needed at once. But the only part that felt good on the keyboard was the directions, the WASD. And I already played the directions on other games like FPS and whatever that you play on the keyboard. You always use WSD, so I was used to it, right? And then I decided, well, let me just try the best of both worlds, and I just tried using both, and the game allowed it. The game didn't like I didn't have to do any shenanigans for it to work. It just worked naturally, and that was really cool because not all games work like that. If you try to play with both keyboard and controller in some games, some of them just don't allow it. And it was pretty like a good coincidence that it allowed that. I think a good type of like good programming from the devs to allow something like this. Like I don't know if it was intentional or not, because it doesn't seem like it's intentional, because at first when you did keyboard and controller, the key prompts that show up in Celeste, for example, the bird that shows like what key you should press, it just stuck with the first thing that you pressed. I think on the screen. So like if you press like a keyboard, the first thing, like it was not gonna change. But then after an update, if you switch to a controller at this point, it would change to the controller immediately, right?
Yeah.
And then because I play with both at the same times, like in every key press that I do, like the bird keeps changing the prompts. It gets really funny.
Bird
I
is
don't know why I
seriously
decided.
confused. If someone wanted to try that, how would you actually set up to use both at once?
Set up to use both at once. I didn't actually do anything. I just like changed the keybinds for WASD, and the rest is like normal on the controller, right? Like
Okay, yeah.
right trigger to grab and 8 to jump, like on the Xbox, like lower button to jump, left button to dash, and that's it. And then like I added like a second jump on the controller and a second like demo dash on the controller afterwards. But yeah, talking about the controller and keyboard, it actually gives you a big advantage to play on the keyboard, because at least for me, it looks like you have a big advantage, because in Celeste you have some kind of twitch movements, right? Because you have to move from side to side very quickly sometimes. You have to like wiggle your ways from left to right, and you can't really do that very fast on the controller. Like on the keyboard, I can just like tap both of them like at the same time, because you have a dedicated finger for each of them. But on the controller, you have one finger for all 4 directions. So, and you have 3 fingers for all 4 directions on the keyboard. So it's much faster for you to switch directions and also like press up when you need to, or press or hold down when you need to. Like you won't need to use up and down at the same time, anyways. And you usually don't need to press up and down quickly in quick succession, anyways. But you do need to press left and right in quick succession. So I think that's a very good way that everything lined up. And so it really like the keyboard is an advantage because of this. And the joystick for speedrunners is an advantage for the feather movements, but that's about it. I think the keyboard overall, it has like a bigger potential, except for the feather movements in Celeste. And so, and the rest of the movements, it was like it comes naturally, because you can use like one finger and press both jump and dash at the same time on the controller, and you also have another dedicated finger for the grab. The only problem is if you want to press for example, jump and demo dash, that it's like on the upper button. So like it's very difficult to press both of them in quick succession. Although you could just use the second jump button, but it's very hard to get used to that.
So after the very quickly done C sides, was it on to B sides next?
No, I did all full clears next. I didn't know about the full clears in Celeste up until after I finished Farewell Golden. I think I was streaming at the time, and somebody just told me about the full clears and the golden flags. Because if you don't know, there is a kind of quote-unquote secret thing in Celeste that if you finish a chapter completing everything, you get a full clear, a special like golden flag with a star besides the journal entry on the chapter. And it's pretty cool because it just looks neater, it looks more complete, it looks like you're doing something for the 100%, right, of the game, even though the speedruns don't actually count full clears as 100%. And then I thought full clears are not something that are very, like, they're not like done very much, right? So I was thinking maybe there are more all red berries runs in Celeste, but full clears are not very well known, and people don't do that very much. And then I looked up how many people did all the full clears, and I saw that only 2 people did. Actually, at the time that I started, only 1 person did the full clears, and I thought it wasn't gonna be that much harder than just the 80%, and so I went for it. But I was very wrong. The full clears are so much harder than the 80%.
So
Because
is the full clear all berries plus crystal harp plus cassettes?
yeah, and plus chapter 8 as well with everything.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, it adds a new chapter, and it adds like a lot of duration to the run because the berries are like most of the run. I don't even know how much it compares. Let me actually open the speedrun.com of Celeste here, because if you're doing like all red berries, is like so much longer than 80%. Although the speedrunners, they have done like, they have optimized it so much. No, it's actually, yeah, it's like it's not like double the time, but it's much longer. So it adds a lot of duration to the run if you're just doing all red berries. And it's not only the red berries, it's also all the hearts and all the cassettes. I don't know exactly how long it took for me, but it was one of the longest ones for sure. It took very long.
I guess it must have been a very different
really don't know.
experience. A very different experience from the 80% as well, because there's so much different platforming that you don't really experience getting all the red berries as well.
Exactly, because since you don't get that in the Goldens, that's true, exactly. You need to learn new things and not just replicate whatever you did in the Goldens, like in a row, like you did in the 80%. You need to actually formulate strategies for everything once again. And that took a long time for me to come up with good strategies. And at this point, I was getting more people, a tiny bit more people watching me, and people decided to help me as well formulate some strategies. And it was pretty cool because there were so many things that I didn't know of, and people taught me, and so many safer strategies. It's pretty cool. And also, I think I started playing modded after I finished Farewell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, everything is like out of timeline
It's fine.
because
No
I keep remembering things like in random orders.
No worries.
One thing that happens is that I have a very bad memory overall, which is kind of funny. So yeah, so it's very hard for me to actually remember the actual strategies. So most of it is, I don't even know how it comes to me when I need to do something again, because if I try to at least at the time, if you just like pop me into a screen, I wouldn't be able to remember it right away. Like, you need to be kind of in the flow. I don't know. I really don't know how it works, but my memory was really bad, and it still is pretty bad for so many things. And just after practicing so much that you need to like be able to do it very naturally without thinking about it for it to actually work. And what else? Oh yeah, so I played some modded because I don't remember exactly what I was doing that I actually started streaming, but it was about this time that I started streaming, when I was like doing the Farewell Golden. And then some people told me about modded and how good modded was on the chat, and so I played lots of hours on modded. I think my modded save file must have like 400 hours or something. A lot on the Supreme collab and a lot on some other golden berries that I did on modded. And so I think all of this kind of trained me for being able to get good at not only just memorizing stuff, because that's a skill that I lack a lot, but also be able to react at the right time. So instead of having to memorize those pixel perfect setups that I never was able to, like, I always found it not only difficult but also kind of boring, and also kind of lame that you have to do something that it's like 0% chance of failing in some screens. I decided to just go for the way of try to actually react in every part, right? Because I know so many hitless and deathless runs, you can actually minimize the risk of doing that by taking the safer strats or doing something that's pretty much invincible, right? If you like have all the knowledge. But also another type of knowledge is being able to react at the right time, being able to have the reflexes of the right time. If you watch my 100% run, you see that I had so many recoveries and close calls that it's kind of like absurd because I forget, like sometimes I forget what I have to do and I do like very wrong things at the run because of this. And I think that's also a good thing about Celeste because Celeste allows you to do that. You always feel like you're doing close calls all the time when you're playing it. Even if you're not even doing a golden, you always feel like you nearly made it, and it's so cool.
Yeah, Celeste has got to be, or got to have, one of the biggest modding communities out there. There's been so many amazing levels created, and such like high quality levels as well.
Oh yeah, it's the modding community is amazing. Some of the mods just feel like they belong in the vanilla game. Some mechanics are just so fleshed out and so utilized in such a good way. So there's this big mod that's the Spring Collab. That was the first mod that I played, and I played it till the end. It just made me I fell in love with the modded community and like all the modded levels, right? So I don't actually participate in the community itself. Like I don't actually like talk to many people. I just streamed and like let people throw things at me. It was still very cool, and it kind of trains you in the game in things that the game cannot even train you about. So like you learn the how to do corner boosts or ultra dashes and 5 jumps and whatever tricks that the modded levels require you to do. Then you can just apply that in the regular game. It's pretty cool, and it's such a big community. It's so like it doesn't end. There's like endless content for Celeste, and most of the content is pretty good.
And then there are some levels where it seems like the modder looked at Farewell and said, "That's cute. Let me have a go at this."
Yeah, oh my god, there's like the D sides. They're so insane.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
actually yeah, oh my god. I don't actually like the D sides that much because they require some very specific memorization and setups, which is something that I really don't like. But they are very well made. Like you know that there is an intended way of completing each screen, like an intended like kind of safe-ish way of completing it. And it was insane when Enox did the 7D, right? He was like the first person to ever do that. And it just looks very absurd, and I felt very happy for him just seeing his happiness. And I think Enox was one of the biggest inspirations for me to do all of this. Really, what else? And one of the levels, I think the first major golden that I got modded was ultra difficult, which is a level in the Spring Collab.
Mm-hmm.
I think it took about 30 hours to do it, and it's just like 5 screens long. It's so short. You can finish it in like 2 minutes or something, but it's so good as well. Like it felt so satisfying when I finished it, and it's a rush. Even though it's just 2 minutes long, it's still a rush when you're getting close to it. But I feel like nothing gets close to the rush of doing a long level, something like it's a marathon and getting like close to the end. You just get like so much time of adrenaline and so much time of this good type of nervousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
If people wanted to try some modded Celeste, do you have any level recommendations?
Yeah, I think the two recommendations that I have are Shade World and the Spring Collab. Shade World because it's an individual map. It's just like one single map, but it's so polished and it's so vanilla-like. It feels like it's something that was like I don't know, cut content from the game because it feels like it's the vanilla game. The everything that you like the it doesn't require you to know many specific tech or and everything that you need to know in the level. The game just teaches you right at the spot. The level teaches you at the spot, and it's the music is so well made. It's like it progresses alongside the level, just like in the vanilla game. It keeps progressing, right? And it makes you feel really cool. And also there is a golden room in that level, just like in Farewell there is a golden room, and it has like a golden gate thing, and it's so cool because if you finish the level and you get to the end of the level, you will see that gate, and you will see that, oh wait, there's more content if I bring a golden up until this point. And it just made me feel so motivated to do the golden of that level immediately, just upon seeing that golden gate, because I wanted to see what was beyond that. I wanted to see if I could actually sight read that room. This golden room thing is so cool because I think it really tests your limits of sight reading. And I think sight reading is such an important skill in gaming in general that you can do something without practicing because of your own like dexterity or like not it's not the right word, but like just like being able to read something, being like, I don't know, like being able to be clever about it and be able to quickly analyze what somebody was thinking of when they made something, and it's pretty cool to do that.
Guess like a form of like in-game knowledge or game skill that you've
Yeah,
acquired.
yeah, exactly. And I think sight reading is good. Like when you have sight reading in one game, you it's kind of an ability that helps you in other games as well. I don't know if I'm being too outlandish thinking this, but I think Celeste made me get better at other games as well.
Mm.
Like it didn't improve like just like my reflexes or something like that, but it improved my understanding of the game design and what the game is trying to tell you when you do something. And I think understanding what the game is trying to tell you is so important. I'm really in love with the game design, with game design in general, and Celeste just takes that to another level. It has a perfect execution for that, in my opinion.
So if people wanted to try those modded levels, what is the site to go to?
The site to go to,
Or
I don't really go.
how do people play modded levels, I guess?
I think, at least for me, it was through recommendations. People play model levels through, like I used to play. I started playing the model levels just because somebody told me that a model level was really cool and that you should try it. But I think it's good to discover on your own, like, but only if you're like very deep into the community, right? If you're just starting out, I think it's good to go to the recommendations because people will generally know what's good or bad. Because there are bad model levels, unfortunately. Because like it's okay, right? Because people want to create their own things, and sometimes they're just starting out. So of course, there's gonna be some things that are not as good, but it's good that you like if you want to get into modded, it's good that the person has a good first impression of what the modded is like. And Shadewell does a good job of that. And the Spring collab, it's like a collaboration of so many people. It's like 100 more people. I don't even know how many people there are, but there are like so many people contributed to that, and they made sure to playtest everything to make sure everything was like good for any new players, for any experienced players. So the Spring Collab has like beginner level, and like it goes up to Grandmaster. It has like 5 different difficulty levels. But I think it's good to start at the beginner level, even if you're pretty good at the game, because it gives you some progression on the modded, and it gives you some cool mechanics to see. And honestly, it it's good to play. Like it's nice to play something that feels refreshing and polished, even though it's easy. Shade World is pretty easy. Like it's like I think a low intermediate difficulty or something, or a high beginner. It's really easy, but it's still so satisfying to play.
And I guess like having that nice build up going from the bottom is a lot nicer than probably getting crushed by an immediate Grandmaster level.
I mean, of course, right? But people will think like, oh no, but I'm not a beginner. Why should I play beginner? I should at least start intermediate or advanced, right? Because I got like the golden berries in Celeste, then I should probably start with advanced. But no, I really don't regret starting in beginner. I think it's a really important thing to play as. It's just a lot of content. It's good to take it slowly. It's good to really try all of that because a lot of work was put into that. Which also brings me to the Strawberry Jam collab that is being made. It was supposed to come out last year, 2021, but there is a lot of content that's being built and there's a lot of things going on. It's going to be immense. It's going to be gigantic, and this is why it's taking a bit longer. I think it's going to release still this year. Might not be. I really don't know. I was invited into the Strawberry Jam collab. I actually filled up a form to try and get in the collab and play as a play tester, right? Because I wanted to help improve the map and give feedback. But I just wasn't really. I just didn't have all the time. I didn't have all the. I felt too tired and too tired too quickly. Like I barely even started that, and there was too many things to do. So this is why I admire so many people that are working for this every day, and they work so much to make all this as polished as possible, and they actually hear the feedback. It's really cool. They actually hear everything. I cannot say much about it, right, because otherwise I would be leaking stuff. But they they take things very seriously, and it's pretty cool.
So what's the name of that again for people to look out for?
It's the Strawberry Jam collab. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm not like inside of it. Like I was invited, but I don't know much else about it, or like I can't say much else about it.
But if they hear the name, they'll know. Ooh, that's something to look forward to or to try out.
Yeah, the Strawberry Jam. If it comes out, like you should probably play it as soon as it comes because it's gonna be amazing. That's all I can say.
To go back to base game or the vanilla game full runs, how was the experience going into the B-sides? Because personally, when I was doing the Golden Strawberries, the B-sides felt a few steps above doing the A-sides. So interested in doing
You mean doing the Golden Strawberries the first time, or when I
the
was doing all the
back-to-back
B-sides?
the
The back to
back-to-back
back.
B-sides.
I think it was easier than doing all full clears. It was still pretty hard and it took a long time, but it was easier than doing all the full clears. I don't remember exactly how long it took, at least a month. I really don't know all the time it took, but it didn't the thing is that it's not as long as all the full clears. If you do all the full clears back to back, it's like 1 hour and a half of playtime, but all the B-sides is like 40 minutes. So even if you died pretty late later on, you don't lose as much time as all the full clears. So it didn't feel as disheartening as the other ones. It was still pretty difficult though. I think it's if like anybody wants to go for 100%, I'd say go for the B-sides before the full clears because it's easier. The full clears are harder than the B-sides. I didn't know that. It's just because of the sheer length and having that like once you're used to the B-sides, you'll be able to pull off the tech required easier, right? I think the biggest enemy in completing this challenge is not the things that you have to do. It's not the difficulty of the things that you have to do because you will be enough consistent at that point. But it's rather, at least for me, it was like this. It was rather the like the brain fart moments where you just forget what you have to do and you just like you do something that you're just not supposed to and you know it's wrong. And I think those moments were the biggest enemy in all of this and what hindered me the most in the 100% run because it's so big. It's like 3 hours long.
If we dive into the Celeste 100%, then we've gone from having it as the very first run after any percent to having done all this pre-preparation, the C-sides, B-sides, full clearance. Was it an immediate start into the 100% after the B-sides, or was there some prep beforehand before going into it?
I think it was almost immediately because I already like knew everything that I had to do on the other things. Like it gets fixed in your memory. But although I jumped right into it, like doing low death runs, and I think after I did the B-sides, my very first run was like 26 deaths or something. It was super low compared to my other runs where I had like, I don't know, 200 or something, 300. And I was feeling very happy and people were super hyped about it because I didn't actually practice that much, especially on the seasides again and on Farewell. I think most of my deaths were on Farewell and the seasides because although I could do the seasides very easily, when you're doing it at the end of a run, it feels very different because you just cannot fail at that point, right? Like if you fail at that point, you like at anything, and it's not like the hardest stack of the game. It's a big impact.
So what order did you just God words, sorry, English. So what order did you decide to do the levels in for this 100% run, and was there a reason for that order?
In the 100% run, I did all the levels in normal order. I mean, I did like A, B, A, B, A, B, right? So I did 1A, then 1B, then 2A, then 2B. The reason for that is because I already did like all the full clears, all the B-sides, and it gets kind of boring when you're just doing everything repeatedly, the same order. So just to mix it up, I did all the A and B sides like just like that, like, right? 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and I think it's more fun that way. And I think there's not much else to it. Like if you want to, you can just do like all the A sets and then do Farewell straight up because Farewell is like the hardest part, right? So like if you really want to try hard to get this as fast as possible, I think the logical thing is to do the hardest things first, right? So of course, do all the A sides because you have to, and then do Farewell as soon as possible. Then you jump to like 7B or 8B, which are the hardest ones, and then you move your way back to 1A because then if you die, like you're more likely to die in the harder parts, right? But if you die in the earlier stage, you won't lose as much time, and so you won't be as disheartened. But I had my mind set in doing this in order. I thought it was just gonna be cooler if I left Farewell at the end because like it feels so much more intense than just like I don't know leaving 1C to the end.
I will say it doesn't have that dramatic finish to it of getting
Exactly. It wouldn't feel very very satisfying to just leave 1C at the end. It wouldn't feel that cool of a thing. And people got very hyped when I got to like farewell and like the final seasides every time, because people would post me my stream on the Discord and get very hyped about it. It was super cool. I think it wouldn't be the same if I just left 1C to the end. I mean maybe it would, but I don't know.
The most hype 1C has ever been in the history of Celeste. Or maybe even 2C, because I feel 2C maybe even thing, because that's very short. I think the shortest one. So to talk about Farewell for a sec, we've talked about your initial experience going into getting it as the Golden Strawberry, getting it Deathless. What's changed from getting it then, or having the skills to complete it Deathless, to being at the point where you can do it 6 times in a row? And people listening, that is not a joke. There is a video on Rick's channel of him doing it 6 times in a row.
I just wanted to practice it, man. I was just practicing. It wasn't meant to be 6 times in a row, but I did it, I guess. And I think in the stream, I did it like 2 times in a row or 3 times, because I was just trying to practice, right? Because I don't like practicing just one section over and over, and just like beginning it over. I like to end the runs if I die, because just like I said before, you're not going to be dying in one specific spot in the run all the time. Just like it's not one thing that's going to give you trouble, but everything, because it's so long that anything can give you trouble at all. Like it can be like the easiest room. And this happened before, after I got a 1 death run in 100%, right? So I did 100%. I got to Farewell without dying. I did like all the A, B, and C sides and everything, and got to Farewell, and I died in a very easy room. I don't know if you saw that. But
Yes.
I died in the oh, you saw that? I died in the bubble room with crumble blocks, and people were like, "How could you die there?" I think it's kind of insensitive that people say this.
Ignoring all the pressure of the moment and all that. So how could you?
How could you even die there? You're so bad at this game. All right, I guess let's become a bit better then. And then I knew that screen wasn't the problem. I wasn't going to practice that screen like and do it like 100 times in a row to make sure I don't die in that screen. No, I'm going to practice the entirety of Farewell, of course. And then I did the entirety of Farewell, and then I did it again, and then I already had Farewell twice in a row, right? And I knew some people who like already did like Farewell multiple times in a row. I knew like one friend that was trying to go for it but didn't actually do it. I thought, wait, it's kind of insane, right? Because Farewell is already 20 minutes. And then in the middle of that run, I think somebody told me that Clantis had 4 times in a row, and so I thought that's pretty cool, 4 times in a row. I don't know if I can beat that, and then I beat that and did 6 times in a row. I don't know. It was just a practice. I think if I really wanted to go for it, I think I could do 10 times in a row. Really.
So do you think it's mainly just the amount of hours that you've put into the level itself that has made you be able to do it so consistently, or is it a mindset shift about the level itself? Because I think a lot of people think this is a hugely difficult level, which it is, of course, and that might hurt quite a bit in trying to get the golden, or maybe a mix of both.
It's both, of course, because once you do Farewell once, it becomes so much easier to do it again, because you don't have as much pressure to actually get it another time. You don't have as much self-doubt, like subconscious self-doubt, like, can I actually do this? I don't know. Like, I got close, but am I consistent enough to actually do this? And then you get it a second time, and then the third time is like, all right, I already did it 2 times. I can easily do a third time, right? And actually, my first 3 Farewell Goldens were very different one from each other, because my first one was a normal golden, right? And the second one was with the Moonberry double collect, because I saw Enox doing it and I thought it was really cool, so I decided to do it too. And the third one was something that I wanted to do that I didn't see anybody doing it. I think not many people heard about this, but I did a
the Pacifist Run is this.
Pacifist Run.
Yeah. Could you explain what a Celeste Farewell Pacifist Run is? Golden Strawberry as well, by the way.
It was mostly a joke, like a reference to Undertale, right? Because you can do a Pacifist Run without killing anyone in Undertale. And in Farewell, it's kind of funny because you kind of kill the jellies, right? Like the jellies, which is a mechanic you use for that. they disintegrate once you touch a barrier, and and they don't come back. Unlike like the blowfishes, for example, that you blow them up and then they come back, or like you jump them off screen and then they come back. But the jellies, they never come back, and they're like, oh, they're a cute little jelly. Like, look how cute it is, and then it died. No. And then I decided, no, I don't want any of them to be killed. And then I just decided to just try it. Is it possible? Nobody ever said if it's possible or not. I didn't see this in the forums or like in the Discord anywhere.
No one cared about the jellyfish.
No one cared about the jellyfish. Exactly. So it was mostly a joke. It's like a meme run, right? And then yeah, it's possible. But as it turns out, the very last screen is the hardest one. Like the farewell screen is the hardest screen to do that, because if you want to try that, it's so difficult. You have to like back boost the jellies. You have to do some weird tricks to actually get the jellies to not be killed. Because if you only like you just throw the jelly backwards, it's going to be killed by the other jelly barrier, because there are so many jelly barriers there. It's very dumb, but it was cool. It was cool that I did something that nobody else did at that point. And then after the third run, I just decided to just keep going for it. And then I did Pharaoh Golden twice in the same day. And then I did Pharaoh Golden twice in a row. And then I did Pharaoh Golden twice in a row, twice not in a row. So like I did it twice in a row, then I did another one, and then I did it twice in a row again. And then I thought, I can't do it 3 times in a row. And I never did it 3 times in a row, but I tried keep going for 3 times in a row. Because if you're not able to do it on the spot, on demand, how are you supposed to be able to do Celeste 100% with Pharaoh at the end? You're just gonna spend like 2 hours getting to Pharaoh and then you're gonna die, right? So you have to be able to do it on demand. So I practiced and practiced so much Pharaoh. I came up with different strategies to every room. Like, of course, because you have to do that in Deathless Run. And my best up until that point was only twice in a row, and then I just kept going, and it was like 6 times in a row that day. And I died, as you might expect, in a stupid room, in an easy room, right? It's not even a difficult one, because it's just that mistakes can happen at any point. It's not because something is particularly hard, because after you do it hitless once, you can do it again, and like things are not as complicated as the first playthrough.
Handy thing about Celeste is the lack of RNG, the lack of differences that's going to be happening every run.
Oh yeah, it's so good that it doesn't have any RNG, right? Except except for like, I don't know, subpixel RNG and ultras. That's another story for another day. But it's so cool that there's no RNG and that you can just like do everything over and over again. It's always gonna be the same. Although RNG is very good for games like Hollow Knight, I did like there's also the hitless challenges in Hollow Knight, right? And it's cool that there's RNG. It's good that you have to adapt on the spot. And it shows you the knowledge of the game if you can do that on the spot. But I think it's pretty cool that Celeste doesn't have any RNG. I think it's a good way to make the game a perfect game for speedrunning, because I think that's one of the goals that those probably had when doing it. I'm pretty sure like everything just fits so well for speedrunning. There are so many things that are like you can see that the devs just included that just for the speedrunners.
It's also super interesting seeing the differences as well, because to stick with the Hollow Knight and hitless runs for a sec, like with Celeste, it's pretty much all on you. If there's a death, if there's a mistake, there's normally no one to blame other than yourself. But in stuff like Hollow Knight, it can be more so around learning a boss or learning a routing or learning how the game functions extremely well, and sometimes have to rely on working out how random occurrences and how to react to them. So it's interesting the skill sets you need for the 2 different games, even with the same challenge.
Yeah, it's a very different skill set, I think, because you can do the hitless runs in Celeste just with memorization alone and just with like mostly easy execution of those memorized things, right? But I think Hollow Knight will probably be much harder than Celeste to do hitless. Probably. I actually don't know. I never tried Hollow Knight hitless, but there is a lot of RNG in that game. There's a lot of like, even the enemies can do different abilities, right? The regular ones. And if it's when you're doing something that requires RNG, you sometimes feel kind of cheated, right? It will just sometimes feel like, oh, I just had bad RNG, and when am I gonna get a good RNG, right? I kind of deserve a good RNG. Why? Like, and you just like keep blaming these things, and it's very hard to move forward because of this. But in Celeste, you know that every mistake you made is because you made the mistake. There is no excuse for that.
Which is good or bad, depending on the day.
I think I think both are good. Like even the RNG and the no RNG. But I think in Celeste it fits very well that it has no RNG. And it's good that you can improve to perfection that much. And it really is a statement to the game, a statement to the game design that it is possible to do Celeste 100% without dying a single time. Like it just shows how consistent the game is and how like doable that game is overall. Even though the first time you play Celeste, you will have over 5,000 deaths or so, and to take that to zero, it's a big effort. But you technically did every single screen deathless before, right? So you did every section of the game deathless before, right?
Stringing them together.
Just stringing them together.
Did you have any different prep for the 100%, or was it just if there was a particular level causing issues, you would then do that repeatedly till you were confident, let's say, in comparison to going for the B-sides, C-sides, A-sides, I should say?
I don't know if I had that much of a mindset shift, but I think I did more low death runs than I did on the other previous categories. Like I used to reset more on the previous categories. But if I reset on every single death that I did in 100%, then I wouldn't get practice for the next parts of the run. And then I would just keep resetting. So I decided to keep going for the low death runs in this point, which some funny things happened because of this. I don't know if you heard about that, but I got like 2 deaths. At some point, I got 2 deaths in that. And the first 2 deaths that I had, I think my previous best was like 6 deaths. And I was feeling so happy that I got that 2 deaths. I thought, this is so close. I can definitely do this. And then and then I took like a week to get 2 deaths again. And then, all right, I got 2 deaths again. I can do it. And then the next day, I got 2 deaths again. And then the next day, I got 2 deaths again. I got like 2 deaths like 3 times in a row or something. I don't even remember. But in total, I got 7 2-death runs. And then people were saying that I had a 2-death curse because of this. It was really funny. It was like a meme that I had a 2-death curse because it was always 2 deaths. It was not lower than 2 deaths. It was not 1 death. It was 2 deaths always. And then the 1-death run happened. And then I don't know if that was good or bad, because reducing from 6 deaths to 2 deaths, it took so long. It took like, I don't know, 2 months or so. It's so difficult to reduce that little amount from one thing to the other. Like, it's unimaginable how long that is. And at this point, I started to feel a lot of pressure, because when I got the 2 death runs, people were catching up to it. They're catching on to it, I mean. People were noticing that, holy shit, there was a 2 death 100%. So 2 death can happen. It is possible, isn't it? And when I say, by the way, when I say 2 death, I mean 2 plus 1 deaths, right? Because there's a mandatory moonberry death, of course. We just like ignore that. In general, we just ignore that that exists, unfortunately. And then a lot of people started doing that. So like there was one of my viewers starting doing that, and they were like really good at the game. And
so like going for the 100% at the same time?
Yeah, going for the 100%, or like just starting the challenge with other smaller things. And it was such a big shock, ironically, so ironically, that I was streaming, I was doing the run, I was practicing, and then somebody told me Enox started doing 100%. I was like, holy shit, dude. I almost cried. I was like, fuck no. I was so sad or angry or shocked. I don't know what I was feeling, but it was very negative. I just felt like all this pressure building up inside of me. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm not gonna do it anymore. This is it. It's over. Because Enox was like my biggest idol. I was like, Enox is so good at this game. He's like one of the best players ever. For me, it was like, I don't know, I found Enox and Cheech, who else, and other people. They're they're my idols. I really like them, right? And I thought Enox was done with the game. I don't know, Tej was done with the game. And Tej did like 202 in like 3 hours, like about the same time that I did the 100%. And then I decided watching Enox, and I was like, yeah, you're actually doing this, man. He said, no, don't worry, man. He was like so humble. He was so kind about it. He was like, don't worry, man. You got this. I'm going to take a bit to actually get this. You're definitely going to get it before me. Don't worry. I don't want to be the first, right? And I think I wanted to be the first so bad because, I don't know, I have a very low self-esteem. I have a very low perception of self-worth, right? And people, I don't know, I always felt like I was really bad at the game comparing to so many other people's. I always compared myself too much. And I thought the only way for me to break that and actually see myself as maybe a bit better at the game would be if I did something cool that people found it like highly esteemed without nobody else having done it before. Because if it was anything that somebody has done it before, it wouldn't be that cool, like that big of a deal. Like people have done it before, whatever. And then it was like from in my head, a lot was on the line. Even though I was the only one racing, I feel kind of bad about that because I was the only one racing. Nobody wanted to be the first. They just wanted to do that for themselves. It's like a more noble thing, right? They wanted to do this challenge for themselves, like their own personal challenge, right? And for me, in my head, it felt really selfish because I wanted to do this because I wanted to be the first to do this.
I think
I
there
also
must.
wanted to.
I think there must always be a thing with anyone doing some sort of challenge. Everyone wants to do it first. Everyone would like to get that like world's first. So I think it may be to various degrees, but I think everyone always has an idea of wanting to get a first clearance of any sort of challenge, whether that be in gaming or anything else.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think like the way that they said it, like I tend to really believe people and what they say. And it seemed to me like they meant it. They didn't want to be the first. But I know that to some degree, of course, everybody wants to be the first, right? I don't know if
Of
I'm
course, I
projecting.
could be wrong, but yeah, I just think there's always that nicety of it, obviously to varying degrees. But I think everyone at some level would like it.
Yeah, to varying degrees. That's true. Maybe that's it. Like, of course, it's a good thing because like Enox even has like on his title of YouTube like in parentheses world first. So it means like he is at least proud of these accomplishments in some way, right? And so like of course it's something that people do value it. I'm pretty sure like people he would, for example, if he got it first, he would like put in the title like world's first. Of course he would be proud of being the world's first of doing that. But I'm the one that took it too seriously maybe, and this was stressing me out so much at the time. I was like, when Enoch started doing this, I couldn't sleep. I was like, I was like awake and I just thinking, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. He's just one time he's just gonna get everything. And then I was watching his streams and he was strategizing so much better than me. And I know that Enox, he does so many other good challenges and he did so many other amazing challenges in other games, and so he could definitely do this as well, right? And I thought this didn't motivate me further. This didn't make me go like harder on it. If you watch like the beginning of my run, I was kind of dead inside at that point. I just started feeling really happy after I got in.
Is there a point in the, or was there a point in the 100% run where it starts feeling like a possibility? I've got like, because it being it's such a long run, is there a specific level, or is it when you reach farewell that it's like there's a chance here?
I think I felt there was a chance when I got to. It wasn't even the 2 death run. It was before that. It was like I had a run where I got to farewell in 1 death. So like I died somewhere in the run, and then I got to farewell in 1 death, and then I proceeded to die like 6 times in farewell. I think that run was one of the times that I felt there's a big chance of me getting it. So I had like I don't know 7 deaths or so, 7 8 deaths in that run, and I felt there was a good chance of me getting it. But I really feel that I had a good chance of actually doing it the first time that I did a 2 death run and finish it in 2 deaths. It was like, okay, I can do this. I know this is possible now. Like I have 100%, I'm 100% sure that eventually I will do this. I might not be the first one, but I will be able to do this eventually. Like it's going to happen. There is like the moment is actually recorded on my 2 death run. I actually said it out loud. I know I can do this. It was very very fun. I think that's the point for sure.
To do with pressure, not the, I guess, the racing pressure, but the pressure during actually doing the run, having done quite a few of these full runs, but sticking with the 100%, how do you feel, or how do you cope or feel to cope with the pressure of doing such a long run and difficult run?
You mean like the pressure of like being in the run and like being nervous during the run? I don't know. Like I don't think I dealt that much better than most other people would have. I think I just like I'm a very calm person overall. I'm very patient with like lots of things, and I'm just naturally resistant to pressure maybe. Like I didn't do anything special to calm down, but there is a big coincidence that happened is that somebody in my chat, Hero Brian, he told me that I should take small breaks when doing this run, like take like 5-10 minutes breaks every 1 hour or so when doing this run. And a very big, maybe a coincidence, maybe it was because of this, but the very first time that I did it is when I got the 100% Deathless. The first time that I did breaks like this is when I got it. And I even said it in one run. Like I remember somebody saying this on on Osu. They do like Osu is also a game that's like full of pressure because you need to do like full combos to actually get good scores in that game. And somebody said something like, "When I get nervous is when I shine the most. When I get nervous, I become a magical girl. I become a shoujo and I start shining." Uh, it was really funny when he said that because some people actually do get like better when they feel the pressure. The adrenaline works in a good way for them. I think it's true for most people to some degrees, right? But it's good if you can try and get that to your favor, get that adrenaline to your favor. I don't know if I actually learned how to do that, if I actually learned how to like get in the zone as much as I want, but I did feel that at some points I did get in this zone flow thing, right? And you could really feel it when you're doing it. Like you feel that pressure, you know there's a lot going on, but somehow you can channel all that into doing everything correctly. It's very rare and it's very, very cool, very magical, right?
I've got to wonder, how long did it take you to calm down from getting the run after watching your reaction from completing it?
4 days. I didn't believe I did it until I don't know, until I got the 201 Deathless. I wasn't even believing I got it actually.
Just
it was like
dream you're living through.
Exactly. It was like I didn't get it. It was not even possible. I had to pinch myself a few times. I even say it in the run. I say like a Portuguese expression. I say like "a ficha não caiu." Like it just didn't process yet. My brain is not ready to accept this yet. This is too early. It's not true.
You just mentioned there 201 berries. Could you explain what you did immediately after doing the 100% Deathless?
So yeah, after I got the 100% Deathless, I just didn't even play Celeste for a bit. I just like, I think I opened the game because I was thinking like people were saying, what are you gonna do now that I finish 100%? And then I said, of course, I'm not gonna do 202 Deathless. It's never like it's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna do it, but it's not gonna be me because that wasn't my goal. And then 2 days later, this incredible thing happened that I was feeling so happy from the 100% Deathless that I had zero stress, zero care in the world, zero like every like pressure that I had been released at that point. Like I was feeling so nervous, so stressed from being the 100% Deathless that I couldn't imagine being the first to do 202 Deathless. And then I just started, I just played in the save file. Like I didn't even open Celeste. Like I opened Celeste just to like record a random video that didn't even have to do with gameplay of the game, right? I didn't practice anything. I just opened the game, started streaming, started talking to people, and it was easy. It was just like easy. It was like I didn't feel anything bad at that moment. If you watch that stream, the 202 Deathless, I don't know how much you saw of that, but I was feeling ecstatic. I'd never felt that carefree in my life. It was like everything was so chill and I was having so much fun. At some point, there's like a point in 7B where I was feeling like I'm actually doing this, but I don't feel like I'm doing something like so much harder. I don't feel like I'm doing something so impossible that I can't reach it. Like I just did this. I did something harder than this 2 days ago. And now I'm doing this again and it's okay. And like I'm having fun. I'm like listening to music. I'm talking to people at the same time. I'm freaking singing while I'm playing it. And I'm still doing it flawlessly. I don't know what hit me. I don't know how I could even do that. I just felt very invincible. It's impossible to replicate that feeling or to explain what I felt. I never felt like that. I was truly feeling really invincible, and I actually got the 201. You can even see that I was like joking around at the end. Did you see like the ending of my 201 run? That I just like throw around in farewell. I was like, I was feeling so invincible that I thought, I can just like do this little wall kick in farewell. Like it's easy, right? It's gonna be funny. People are gonna laugh. Everybody just hated me.
Oh, because I bet the chat was more pressured then. Like they were more stressing than you.
Exactly, the chat was a lot more pressure than me. Like I didn't care if I died at that moment. I didn't care if I lost the run. I was like, yeah, it's okay.
I guess it was sort of similar to what we were talking about earlier, to do with the difference between your very first Farewell Golden and every attempt afterwards. Like, you've proved that you can do it, it's been done. And then with this one, it's like, I know I can do it, it's been done, I'm chill, I've done the goal.
Exactly. I've done the goal. The rest
Victory
is just
lap.
extra. It's just a victory lap right now. It's not like I'm doing like an entirely different goal and building upon it and make it a tower bigger. No, definitely not. And then the funny thing about the 201 run is that it's a 201 run, not a 202 run. Why is that? What is the missing berry for the 202 run? And the missing berry, if you don't know, like for anybody listening that don't know about all of the golden berries in Celeste, there is one hidden golden berry in chapter 1, which is the flying golden berry. It's a berry that you can get like as the very first thing in the game, like the very first collectible in the game that can be that berry. You can just like get that berry at the very start of the game. The thing is that it's very hard to get that berry because you need to do the whole chapter without using a dash, and it's so it uses a lot of pixel perfect things. You use a lot of memorization. You use a lot of different strategies that you cannot just go and do it. Like you can't just like YOLO it like like a lot of the 100% run. There's a lot of parts of the run that I just like winged it, right? There are a lot of parts that I didn't even have a strat for or didn't even practice a strat for because I knew it was easy enough. But you can't wing any screen in that one. You have to do a special thing in almost every screen for the dashless 1A. It's really that difficult, even though it's short. It's really difficult. And I never ever did the dashless wing golden without dying. And so I knew that if I went for the 202, I would die. Invariably, I would die. So I decided, okay, let me just close the save file, open up a different save file, and I'll practice in another save file. I didn't do this for the 201. I didn't practice in another save file to do it again, right? I kept the save file there and I just went to sleep. That's all, right? And then like I resumed the run in another day. Like I didn't even play Celeste. Like so it wasn't like really a segmented run that much. It was just like the same run, but that's it up until the 201. But for that berry, for the wing golden, I knew I had to practice because it was a special case, right? It was like a very what?
So just the wing berry is just a place of its own.
It wasn't. No, I mean it was a special case because I never even tried that. I wasn't expecting to get a 202. It wasn't my goal to get a 202. Like I didn't even like it was like infinitely harder in my brain to get a 202 Deathless. And then I just like I didn't even bother trying to learn it because I didn't like the wing golden. I thought no, it's annoying, it's boring to learn. You have to do like pixel perfect setups. And this is something that, like I said before, I hate that. And that's like the one point in the game where you have to do pixel perfect setups if you want to do it deathless, right? Because the devs didn't want you to do that deathless. You can get the wing golden and die like a lot, right? You can just like YOLO it and die and it's okay. Because it's not meant to be done deathless. Like you're meant to die there a lot. Like you don't have to get both goldens at once. And then that I needed the help from everyone. Like people heard about the 201, and then Clantis came, Enox came. So many different people came that already had the double golden, right? And Clantis had like the double golden, and when I say double golden, I mean like getting the wing golden without dying. Clantis had like 10 times in a row at that point. And then I practiced and practiced, and I decided I want to try doing it 10 times in a row before I'm ready to actually go back to the save file. And then I did 10 times in a row. And then I said, okay, let's see how longer I can do this for. And then I died in the next run, I think. So I can do it 11 times in a row. And so what if it happens in the run, right? 10 times is not enough. Then I decided, let's go for 20 times in a row. Fuck it. And then I did 20 times in a row. And then I kept going. And it ended up being like a 33 times in a row wing golden deathless. And then I didn't even die. I was just like fed up with it. It was like I was doing that for hours without dying.
Just
And
30,
I was
30
like,
runs plus is enough. That's comfy now.
yeah, 31 runs was enough. And then I said, fuck it. I'll just I'll just like close this. Like I was using the modded save file to practice, right, with Everest, with save states, etc. Then say, fuck it, let's just go to the main game, like without modded. And then I opened my main save file, did it once again. I like tested to see like if you could like safely restart the chapter without counting a death, because then you could like return the map without counting a death. And this is also something I didn't do in my 100% run, right? I didn't like try to cheese anything by returning the map, because it's something that you can technically do because the game allows you to, but it's like cheating, right? But we decided to agree that if you return the map in safe ground, it's not cheating, right? Because this is how the rules work in the hardcore mod, right? Because it's like you could save yourself if you're in safe ground. It's okay, like it's a rule we agreed upon. But I didn't actually do this in all of the run up until the wing golden, especially because you could just like finish the level and whatever 1A is okay. But I had a very I had a near miss in that run. I think you saw it. There is a point like in the 202 in the wing golden at the very end where I thought I missed a jump, but I actually didn't even miss that jump. It was like right, the setup was right, but I thought I missed it, and so I dashed with despair, and then I almost died because of that dash, and then I recovered myself. It was super tough.
Needed 33 times in a row. Needed that one more.
Yeah, it was actually technically it was like 31 in a row. Then I did one more, like then 32 in a row, and then the 33rd in a row was the golden. It was the 202nd, right? And then I got it. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel the same thing that I felt when I had 100%. And something really weird happened. Like I felt happy. People were commemorating, but not nearly as many people were watching. It was like less than 200 people were watching. When in my 100%, it was like 280 people were watching at the moment. It was really cool because people were like really cheering me on. It's really cool to watch the chat again. But in the Wing Golden, not nearly as many people. There wasn't that much pressure building up. There wasn't that much release. Like I was feeling nervous, of course, because if I died there, I would lose all of that. And also, it was like 2 days after I got the 201. In the 201, I was feeling super happy. I was feeling like super carefree, but then the pressure slowly began to build in, because then I thought, no, now that I did 201, I have to do the 202, because you can't even leave that golden berry, the wing golden, for the beginning of the game. If I just did that in the beginning of the game, I wouldn't be feeling this pressure, right? And then the pressure started building up, like even without me playing. And then, but fortunately, I got it.
It'll be quite tricky to get back to this point.
It will be quite tricky to get back to this point, indeed. I don't know how long until I get another one, because now I want to do it again. I want to do it all in one sitting. I want to actually freaking submit this to the speedrun.com as a speedrun, because my 100% run, it can't be submitted as a speedrun, because at the very beginning I actually quit the game to try and fix some audio issues that had like nothing to do. It's like it's unsubmittable because of those little audio issues that I was having, right? It wasn't even like one viewer was having audio issues. I wasn't having audio issues. Like somebody said that there were issues with the audio on stream, and then all right, I'll try to fix that. Let me disconnect some headphones here. Let me try restarting the game. And on this restarting the game, you invalidate the run according to the rules. I asked for a moderator to see if there could be an exception made because of that. But of course, you shouldn't allow exceptions in that, because otherwise other people are going to ask for exceptions. And then like it's going to be all full of exceptions, and like some of these are going to be like cheated runs and etc. Right? So it's better not to. And this is why I got motivated to try and do it again and actually have the ultimate flex of submitting a Deathless 202 run to the leaderboard. It's gonna be fun.
So including the 202 berries, what would be the approximately final time for the run?
The final time for the run, it's like 5 hours, I think, right? I think it's, yeah, you can even see on the timer, it's like 5 hours, and I even like took a few breaks to chat and everything. Yeah, it's about 5 hours, a bit more than that. Let me actually check that. Yeah, it's about that, I think. It's 5 hours and 27 minutes, yeah.
Mad. The world's first 100% completion, swiftly followed by world's first 202 Deathless completion.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I read on Twitter or in your YouTube comments, but I saw a comment somewhere that said the world's only canon run of Celeste. which I thought
Oh
was
yeah,
great.
I think Ketchup said that. Isn't that cool, right? I
Yeah.
think the first canon run of Celeste would be like maybe Clentus's run that he did like all full clears and then he did farewell afterwards. He actually did the Deathless. So he did all full clears and Deathless farewell, and I think it was Clentus at least. And I could say that is the canon because the B sides and C sides are extras, right?
True.
Even Theo says, like, at some point, Theo says, this isn't canon, is it? So if that would be like a canon run, it would be probably just all the full clears plus Farewell. But maybe not, I don't know. Maybe Madeline canonically climbs the mountain freaking 4 times.
Maybe just wanted to visit like the side paths. That's what the B sides, C sides were. Went and visiting, and then came back to carry on.
Yeah, maybe Theo is like, this isn't canon as, I don't know, as a joke. He just gets trapped in the crystal again, and she has to face her demons again for some reason. Of course.
Having obviously experience going through the entire game over and over again, do you have any particular favorite soundtracks from the game?
Yeah. I think my favorite soundtrack from the A sides is Reflection, probably. It's just so good. I think it's not as many people like that one, but I think it's really underrated. It's super good, super calm, and then it builds up, and I don't know. And for the B sides, I like 3B, which is that the resort thing. It's like super Mega Man-ish. It really reminds me of Mega Man. I really love Mega Man. And I think overall, my favorite soundtrack of all is Farewell, Farewell. Like the last song that plays in Celeste, right? And the last level, the very last song that plays in last level. I think it's like, it's so epic. It just makes you feel in that moment. It makes you feel like you're doing something incredible. And it's amazing. It's definitely my favorite overall. As for the levels, my favorite levels, I don't know. I think I like 3B as well. I think the fact that it syncs with the music kinda, I think it's really fun to play because of that. And let's see what else. 7B is super fun. 7C is super fun. There are too many things. There's not one thing that I dislike about Celeste. Maybe the Wing Golden. I used to dislike the Wing Golden. I think now that I can actually do it, I don't dislike it as much. But I think I just love everything about this game. It's like I wouldn't be able to do anything like this if it wasn't how much I love this game.
What is the interest or the appeal for you of live streaming? Let's say.
I like that it kind of feels like you're in a couch and having people watching that game as you play. I think it's really cool. I think it would be even cooler if you could literally just pass the controller to someone. Like you can do that in the form of Discord calls, right? And then like several people can stream, and then you can like watch and play at the same time as other people. And that feeling is very nostalgic to me somehow, because as a kid I used to like play games and then pass the controller to friends, and they would everybody would compare themselves and show all the different knowledge they had about the game. And it streaming reminds me a bit of that, and it's really fun. I really like when people watch me play games. And the community of Celeste, they're so nice, and I met so many new people through live streaming because I didn't participate in the community that much, but the community came to me in some way, and then I got to know the community because of streaming, and this is the best thing about streaming. For sure. And the only drawback is that if I try to stream any other game, most of them are just gone. But there are still people that really like my stream and my personality and the way that I play, that they still stick around. But yeah, it's really cool because of that, because of all that interaction. And also, I think that interaction really motivated me, and is also why I don't do that as many like YouTube videos, for example. Although I still like recording, and I used to like editing things, although I don't do that anymore.
If you had one piece of advice for, let's say, people wanting to approach the golden strawberries for the first time, what would be your advice?
Don't throw your face against the wall and just like keep trying things over and over. Do low death runs first. Actually do low death runs, recognize where your deaths were, and try practicing those sections and like individual sections of the levels before just going over and over for a golden. Actually treat the goldens as if it's gonna take a bit. Don't treat them as if you can just rush all of them through. Treat them as if you will take a while to complete them. If you know it's gonna be a hard thing to tackle on and you take it slowly, it's actually gonna be faster than if you try to rush it. Because I tried rushing a lot of the Goldens, and I know I could have done it much faster if I actually practiced them. And so I started actually practicing only after doing like the Deathless challenges and Farewell Golden, of course. Before that, I didn't practice as much.
If one game could be released tomorrow, either announced or unannounced, or a sequel to a game you don't think will ever exist, what game would it be?
I don't get the question. If one game could be released tomorrow,
So if any game that you can think of that interests you, if one game could be released tomorrow, what game would it be?
you would think Celeste 2 or something. But I think I'm just very hyped for Silk Song, man.
That's a great choice.
And also, I'm just very hyped for Silk Song and also Deltarune, the rest of the chapters. I think I'm more hyped over that over something like Earthblade. Oh yeah, so many people didn't even know about Earthblade. I'm so disappointed in the community for not knowing about Earthblade. Come on, guys. Earthblade is the next game from EXOK Games. It's gonna be like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a Metroidvania-like game. They described it as a explore action game. There's gonna be like numbers, as in like stats, life steal, life bars, battle and stuff, and it's definitely probably going to play like Celeste. If like the other games are like anything to go with it, like Towerfall, for example, which is super similar to Celeste, then Earthblade is probably going to be very similar to Celeste as well, and it's gonna be a fun to speedrun and to play. It's gonna feel like a mix between Hollow Knight and Celeste for sure. So I'm also very hyped about that.
That's just reminded me of a little Easter egg in Chapter 6A. I'd say I won't spoil it, but there's this Easter egg in Chapter 6A that's in a secret room that I'd recommend if you've not found to go searching for. It's a really cool little addition they put in there.
Yeah, full of previous games of the EXOK games, right? I actually don't know any of those characters except for the astronaut, which actually played that game before, which is not from EXOK games, it's from Miniboss Studios, which is the Brazilian part of EXOK games, right? I played that game. I didn't. I actually, funny enough, I didn't like that game that much, but I found it really cute. The pixel art really cute. And nowadays, I think that that's actually a very good game because like it has like lots of achievements to it. And also Towerfall. The Towerfall enemies I played only after I played Celeste, just because I really liked Celeste. And I wanted to play the other games from them, so I played Towerfall afterwards. The other characters, I have no idea who they are. I just know there's somebody called Ogmo or something.
To do with the mental side of challenge running, if there was a time, could you tell me a time when the run was taking its toll and how you got past it?
I think at the very end of the run, after Enoch started doing it, it was getting too much for me because of the pressure of doing it right, because of the pressure of trying to be the first. I just like, oh yeah, very important thing to mention. When I was doing this, what helped me get past it is that somebody in the Brazilian community, Pedro Neves. He is one of the moderators for the Celeste Brazil Discord. He made an event on the Celeste Brazil. Like he does like temporary leaderboards for like, let's see the best 80% that somebody can do in this week. So like do 80% runs this week and then submit your times, right? He does like this type of events. And then he said that in honor of the 2-death run from Rick, in honor for the 1-death run from Rick, let's do a 100% event speed run. Right? Because Rick is almost doing it, let's cheer Rick on and let's try this. And I felt really happy that he did that. And
That's super cool.
And I needed to submit a run. And that week I was like playing almost nothing. I was like, Tunic came out that week, and then I played Tunic. And I was feeling like very disheartened. And then I decided, wait, I need to submit a run because this is like he did it in homage to me, right? So I need to participate as well. And then I participated, and that was going to be the run where I submitted it. That was gonna be like only just a run that was gonna do just to submit it. So I was gonna keep going that run. I was not gonna reset the run even if I died because I needed to submit a run. It was like the last day, and that ended up being the run. And so big shout outs to Pedro for helping me that much. Like really, really nice of Pedro of doing that. And I think that helped me get past that for sure.
My final question will be, what's in the future plans of Rickfernello? And I apologize if I mispronounced that.
No, the name is correct.
Sweet.
I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to do a 2-2 Deathless in one sitting. I'll try to at least have 100% Deathless in one sitting. Because I did in one sitting that one, but I want a run that can actually be submitted to speedrun.com. Even though I actually, like, I know, like, everybody knows I actually did it. Like, we know that it's like a valid run, of course. It's just not valid for the speedrun.com. I just want to be able to actually submit that somewhere like that, somewhere like more quote unquote official, right? Or more well known. And I think that would be cool. So I want to try doing a 202 there. And after I'm done with that, I don't know, I'm gonna be lost forever. I'm gonna disappear from the internet and just dissipate. No, really, I don't know what to do after. I think I'm gonna do like maybe some video talking about it on my YouTube. I have some things that I want to talk about Celeste in general, the designs of Celeste, not only about this run. So maybe that, or maybe just stream something else and keep playing modded because I love playing modded Celeste. And I think that's it.
And if people want to check you out, where'd they be looking?
Rickfernello on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, whatever. It's all Rickfernello for now.
Well, Rick, I super appreciate taking some time out today for this. I really enjoyed this conversation, all things Celeste. I hope you've enjoyed it as well, man.
I definitely enjoyed it. It was really cool talking to you. Thank you so much for inviting me to this.
No problem at all. Thanks so much for turning up.
Yeah. I'm sorry for all the awkwardness. I know I'm not used to having conversations this long as well. I can talk on stream, but it's different ways of conversation.
It's no worries at all. You've been great. And I hope everyone else has super enjoyed the conversation as well. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of your day, even in the morning, depending on your time zone. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed that conversation and want to hear more with amazing guests, be sure to head over to youtube.com/WayOfLoci, Loki spelled with a C, or wayofloki.com/nohippodcast.